Hi everyone, it's Jen from Jen's Junk Journal Gems. Today I'm going to be working on applying fabric to the outside of my book spine. Now, what I find is, or what I have found in the past is with my other junk journal that I made for myself. Now, it didn't happen on the outer cover, but it did happen on the inside cover. I had glue leakage, and this is a journal that I made for myself, so I'm not too worried about it, but I want to try and learn from the mistake that I made. I don't want glue seeping through. So what I'm going to try and use today is it's called Heat and Bond Ultra Hold. It's an iron-on adhesive. Now, I belong to several Facebook groups for junk journaling, and someone had recommended that I use this. This is going to be an experiment of sorts, and if you watched my first video on how I did my outside covers here, you'll see that sometimes it's like a comedy of errors. I don't claim to be professional at this kind of thing. I've only just started doing junk journaling, but I thought that if I tried this and made a video about it, and if it works, then perhaps it's something that you might want to consider. So let's try that out. Now, what I wanted to show you is this is the fabric that I'm using, and I don't know if, yeah, see, you can see through it. It's just a very thin muslin type of fabric that I got from Fabricland. And part of the problem is that it is very thin. So that's why I'm going to try and use this Heat and Bond. Now, I'll just show you what could happen. I just cut a sample. I've got some excess glue there. All right, I'm just going to smear it. I'm using this piece of cardboard here just to show you. Now, I know you can't feel this obviously because it's video, but I'm feeling the glue seeping in, and I don't know if you can see that or not, but there's parts where it's just so porous, and I don't want to ruin you know, I don't want to ruin my journal. So this is what could happen. So this is why I'm trying that Heat and Bond. And what I'm going to do is, well, I'll show you the process so far. What I did was I measured where I want the fabric to end. Now, because I over-taped with the duct tape on the inside, I should have in fact kept this duct tape and maybe ended it here, because what I'm seeing now is lines. I don't know if you can see that on camera, but there's a line. When I glued the paper over top, you can actually see a little bit of a ridge there on the front and back covers. So although it was a mistake, it's okay because it's fixable, because what I've done is I have measured from where I see the ridges, and it's approximately 4 3/4 inches to where I can see the line. So what I did was I cut a piece of this fabric, and you'll see pencil marks here, and that's fine because what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue it down this way so you won't see the pencil marks. Move the scissors out of the way. Now you have to allow a little bit, probably about a 1/4 inch, because once I glue this down, the fabric is going to pull a little bit because of the 2 grooves of the spine. So take into account when you are measuring and you want to add fabric to your outside spine, and again, it's totally up to you. It's your creative process. I normally like to leave about 1 inch on either side from here over for the front and back. But again, I've made the allowance because I don't want to see that ridge on the covers. So I have made it a little bit wider. So the fabric, in fact, is going to be coming over just a little over 1 inch, which is fine because, as you can see, once that's glued down, it doesn't really impede on what you're seeing image-wise. If I were to do, say, 1 inch, yes, I'm going to get a little bit more of his tail, a little bit more of the writing here, and the leaves. But again, because that line is bothering me, I'm going to cover that up. So when you are measuring, once you've got your paper on the front and back cover, you want to allow for 1 inch on either side and allow at least 1/4 inch each. Let me see. Oh, I'm terrible at this kind of stuff. So that would be 1/2 inch, give or take, allowance for when you're actually gluing and pressing into there. Okay, I hope that was clear. Now, what I've done is I've gone ahead and, like I said, I've cut this this according to my measurement. I don't need this much excess on the top and the bottom. You only need probably about 1/2 inch or so, because what you're going to do is you're going to tuck it and glue it down to this side. Okay, so I've gone ahead, let me get this out of the way. I've gone ahead and did the first line. Now, I just happen to have this grid mat here because I was going to get into quilting and I never did. But you know what? It's come in quite handy for the purposes of journal making. So what I'm going to do, and you can't see this end, so I'm just going to readjust the camera here. I've just made a mark where I want to cut off, so I'm going to lay that on a ruler on there. I'm going to grab my pencil here, and I'm just measuring according to the grid space that I see below. And because I'm cutting off, this is going to be on the inside cover, so you know, if it is a bit crooked, don't worry, don't freak out. You're not going to see it anyway. It's going to be covered up with whatever you're using for your inside cover. So I'm just going to make the cuts here. And again, you want to be using long strokes with your scissors. And that way it prevents a bunch of stopping and starting, and you won't get as even a line. Okay, so I'm all ready. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to measure out the heat and bond. Now, if you see here, there's a paper side, and there's a side where it is, I guess, the iron-on adhesive. I've never used this product before, so it's going to be a new thing for me. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pause the video. I'm sure you don't want to see me cutting into this, so I'll give it a quick pause, and I'm just going to cut a piece here so that I can adhere it with my iron. So I'll be right back. Okay, so I've gone ahead and I've cut a piece of the heat and bond, and you can see again this is textured. That's the adhesive, and on the other side it's paper, which you're going to peel off after. So what I've done is I've got some pencil lines on this piece of fabric from where I made my my lines so that I could make a straight cut. I'm going to put that pencil side down on top of the adhesive part. And then what you do is you turn it over, smooth it out, and I'm going to iron this part down. So my pencil marks won't show because that's not the part that I'm going to be adhering, or that's the part that I'm going to be adhering. And I'm going to iron this paper side on medium heat with my iron. It says on the packaging to do kind of 2 seconds per area, just to make sure that, you know, you don't overheat. And I'm going to try that, and I'm also going to do actually a test swatch too. I want to make sure that this product is going to work. I would rather do a small test swatch, and again, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to iron down. But I would much rather do a test one, and what I'll do is I'll glue it to the piece of cardboard that I've already used here, just kind of a scrap piece, and see whether or not this heat and bond is going to do the trick. So I'll pause the video for now. I'll go and I'll iron this, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Now, just a little footnote here. When I did cut my piece of the heat and bond for my fabric, I made a little bit of a bigger outline there, thinking that I could trim it. Well, what happened is I ironed onto a tea towel, not thinking that when I iron it, the overlap of what's sticking out here, the adhesive actually went onto the tea towel. So put down something, unless you want to, you know, peel off adhesive on your ironing board or wherever you're ironing. It might be better actually in hindsight to cut the heat and bond to the exact measurement of your fabric. Anyhow, live and learn. Okay, so here's my smaller piece. And what you do is you peel off the paper, and it comes off quite easily. And what you'll be left with, sticky, staticky. Okay, what you're going to be left with is, it almost feels like a rubber. It's an adhesive, and you can see the shine on there. You can see that it's ironed on really well. Okay, so there's that piece. What I'm going to do is I'm going to trim this piece. Yeah, I'm going to trim this piece here, because if I peel off the paper, the adhesive that's beyond the paper, I'm going to have to trim anyway. So it's actually easier for me just to trim where I can see the paper, because the adhesive is clear. So let's get this trimmed off. And just a tiny little bit here. Now, the instructions say, I guess this heat and bond, the purpose of it is to peel away the paper, and like I'm going to do now, and then to reapply your iron, adhesive side down. Now, hang on, let me get this off. Which I don't really want to do. I don't want to do that because I don't want to iron the cover of my book. So what this heat and bond, what they're recommending is put the shiny side down, obviously, that's the adhesive. And then it says, let me see here, to press and hold for, with an iron for 8 seconds on each section until the entire piece is bonded. Well, that's fine if you're going to do a flat surface, but I'm not sure if I'm going to trust that the iron is going to get into the crack of the spine. So, this is the problem. I've got this adhesive. I'm hoping, and this is what I'm trying to use it for, is that this adhesive here will prevent glue from leaking out on this side. So what I'm going to try on my test swatch here is I'm going to use glue and put it on the scrap piece of paper there just to see if my theory is correct. And I hope it is. So let's see here. I'll apply some glue. Whoops. I mean, I probably could use the iron and glue, but I'm just, if I don't get the cracks of that spine adhering, it's going to be baggy and it's going to look crappy. I'm just going to use my fingers instead of getting a brush out here. So let's just see if my theory works. Oh boy, I hope it does. Well, that's from the outside, so from my finger. Okay, now I'm pressing down quite heavily, and remember in the first part of the video I pressed down and the glue was actually seeping. I don't know if you can see, but there's a little bit of a dark spot here where the glue has now dried and where it leaked through the thin muslin. So I'm pushing really hard and nothing is leaking. So this heat and bond, I'm not going to use the iron. I'm going to use glue, and I'm going to glue it to the outside. I don't know. Let's see if you can see that, if there's a difference. Now there's a little bit of glue here, but that I had glue on my finger and I hit the top of the fabric. So yeah, I think that is going to act as a barrier for if you're using thin material and you want to use glue. That heat and bond seems to be working really well. Okay, that's a good thing. Okay, let me get my brush, because I want to be able to get into the cracks of the spine. And I'll get my bone folder tool. I'll get my cover. Now, what I did with my journal is, at this point, when I had my fabric cut out, I did a stitch along the side there. I may do a little bit of this fraying. I don't think for this journal I'm going to add a stitch. So again, that's something that you can consider doing. All right, so I've got, just to recap, I've got the pencil lines that I use to cut my fabric. I faced those down onto the adhesive. I ironed the paper over top. So you can see this is where I have a few of the pencil marks, and they're not going to show. All right, so what you want to do is you just want to eyeball. Try and have the same amount of fabric on the top as you do at the bottom for folding around. Now, what I'm going to do while I have this on here is I'm just going to gently, I don't need that. It's okay if you don't have you know, all of the tools that you see in YouTube videos. You can use your fingernails. You can, I've used a ruler before. You know, where's my ruler? Oh Lord, I can't find it. Here's my other one here. You know, just gently, you know, use what you have. It doesn't have to be a big, expensive hobby, although I find that once you start making these, and especially if you're watching other people's YouTube videos, oh, you're going to see all the wonderful things that are available. So, and you're going to want to buy. All right, so here we go. Get my glue going. Oh, this is hurting my hands today. I've got a muscle disease, and it's very much like arthritis. And some days are better than others, and I've been working at trying to keep the house warm. We heat our house with wood from the wood stove downstairs. And handling wood in the last couple of days has really knocked my hands for a loop. All right, so what you want to do is you want to make sure that you're getting glue inside that crack. Anywhere where you don't have glue, it's going to lift. And so the whole idea of using this heat and bond stuff is that I can apply glue more thickly, and I don't have to worry about it seeping through. Now, it's better, I know I can eyeball it because, like I said, I've got the line here that I know is going to be at the fabric end. Don't over glue onto your cover. It's better to go back and lift up the edge of your fabric and glue it down than it is to over glue onto your cover. Because once you have glue on your cover, it's very hard to get off. Okay, I think that that's good. Oh, I hope so. Oopsie. Okay. Now I've already got an idea. Oops, good heavens. All right, I've already got an idea of, because of the lines that I made before, where that's going to be placed. Okay, here's where this bone folder comes in handy, but again, use what you've got. If it's a ruler, it's okay. What you want to do is you want to use your fingertips or whatever it takes to get that fabric down into the spine where the glue is. Because if it doesn't adhere there, it's not going to, it's going to bag and sag and everything else, and you don't want that. Okay. Sometimes just using your hands and pressing in does the job. Okay. You want to be gentle. It's going to take a few minutes for this glue to dry and to set. So it's setting now as I'm kind of playing with it a bit, but oh, for heaven's sakes. See, always the comedy of errors. I've got glue here somewhere. I should have my baby wipes. It's okay, you can't really see it that much. And this journal's probably going to be for me, so me or a friend. What we see when we make a mistake, you know, 9 times out of 10 you can fix it or cover it or whatever, and the other 1%, you know, only you will know that it's been a mistake. Your friends aren't gonna know. They're gonna, if you're making junk journals for your friends. Okay, so I think that's pretty good. I've got the, now I do have a heat gun. I'm not going to use it. I don't think it's really that necessary. All right, and you're basically going to be doing the same thing here. Just apply the glue. Oh boy. I'll get the top on there so it doesn't dry out. Yeah, what I did a couple of days ago is I was loading wood into the wood stove and burned my hand. Winter times here in central Ontario. We're getting a cold snap right now, and it's about minus 30 Celsius right now with the wind chill. So it's a good day to do some videos, I think. All right, so what you want to do is just grab the part and pull as tight as you can. Now I should have some baby wipes here, and I don't. So I'm just gonna do this. And I don't want, my hands are all gluey, so I don't really want to touch anything right now. Again, you can always go back and re-glue parts that haven't adhered. I'm going to use my tool here. You want to pay attention. I did put a lot of glue here. You want to pay attention to the inside spine. Hold on just a sec. I'm just going to go get a cloth for my hands. I should have baby wipes that are closer to my desk. I'm just gonna wipe up some of this excess. Oh, geez, some of this excess here. Now, don't worry. You can see there's a little bit of glue here, but don't worry because that is going to be covered with whatever you choose for your inside journal. Well, this is giving me a hard time. Okay, I'm going to push down on that, and kind of fold it in a little bit. Now this is gapping, don't worry. Sometimes it does, and you, like I said, you can go back. This isn't Fabri-Tac glue I've used previously to do this. This is the first time that I've used this Eileen's Tacky Glue, and it's not a quick drying glue, so which can be a good thing. Because you can fiddle around with what you're doing and you have time before it dries. Now this part here is doing well. This part here is not. So I'm going to hold it a bit here. And it doesn't want to stay for some reason. So that's going to be a spot where I'm going to have to go back and re-glue. It's better if you can kind of do it now, but I'm going to have to get my awl. I'm still squishing glue out, so perhaps I have used a bit too much. But again, all of this stuff here is going to be covered. It's just, I don't want to get glue. I'm trying to wash my hands here. I don't want to get glue on the parts that are going to show. So, there we go. See, that's going to need some re-gluing. All right, I'm going to pause this video. I'm going to wash my hands because I do have glue on them, and I'm going to go get a paper towel. I'll be right back. Okay, my hands are all clean now. That was like a glue natural disaster. Now, what I'm going to do is I just want to show you what you want to do is flatten it out while you have your book covers closed, like I do. As long as the majority of your fabric is adhered, at least in the most important areas, like these creases here. That's why I keep using my bone folder. You want to, and see, it is lifting up here and here, so I'm going to apply some more glue. And I don't want to lift up the whole thing, so I'm going to just put some on my awl. Just put it underneath there. And a little bit there. That glue will come off of my awl very easily. So I'm not too worried about applying glue there. I prefer actually the Fabri-Tac glue. I get it from Fabricland here in Canada. It's expensive. I think it's like $17 or $18 for a bottle. It lasted me, well, of course, depending on your usage, it lasted me about a month, which isn't bad. All right, so that's starting to lay down flat now. Now this part is giving me a hard time. It's still wet. You want to bend, oops, you want to bend the covers, because that is what's, if you just laid it down flat and ran your bone, it hasn't experienced the movement yet of what the book is going to do in the future. So you kind of want it to glue so that the bend is glued. The fabric is glued into the bend, is what I'm trying to say. All right, so that I'm going to fuss with it just a little bit more while it's wet, but I'm sure that you don't want to see me fussing. But there's the outside of the cover. You can see here where it's lifted just a wee bit. I'm just going to have to apply a little bit more glue. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to allow it to dry while I smooth out the folds on the inside. And then I will come back and show you the finished product. Okay, what I'm doing now is I'm just putting a little bit of glue at the end of my awl here, AWL. This is what you use to poke holes into your signatures with when you're ready to sew them into your book. There's a little bit of a lip here, so what I do is I just run my awl gently underneath. You see here where I didn't put a lot of glue. I didn't want to over glue the cover, so I just kind of run it along the edge there and make sure, yeah, everything's glued down. A little bit more glue here. Yeah, you just run it underneath. I find that this awl is really handy for that. Any glue that you use, it comes right off, but I find that it's small enough and nice and pointy where you can get into a lot of crevices with glue if needed. That's just something that I've kind of learned along the way. All right, so there's the outer spine, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to maybe glue a piece of, I don't know, not lace, but if I can find something maybe on Etsy or Amazon, I might glue an embellishment maybe of a ribbon of leaves or something like that, something naturey. Okay, what I'm going to do is, this is still drying, so what you want to do is you don't want to go far when you're doing this kind of work. As the glue is drying, now again, this is not a quick drying glue, so I'm probably going to, I don't know, I may use my heat gun, I might not. I've got to stoke the fire anyway, so I think I'm just going to leave it. I'm happy with the way that everything is pressed down and indented, so I'm going to prop it up with something and I'm going to leave it like that while it dries. It's kind of fussy work, but once you get the outside cover done, then the fun begins, because then you can start working on your signatures and all that stuff. I like to do my cover, at least the outside of the cover anyway, and the spine first. And what I'll do is, once it's dry, I will either cut a piece of fabric or a piece of cardstock that I like and attach it to the front and back of the inside cover. I do use the hidden spine method, so I probably won't be attaching anything to the inside, front, and back cover until my signatures are completed. They're sewn onto either paper or fabric, and then I will glue them down on the inside spine, and then I will add whatever, that's the last step actually. So but that's the way that I choose to do my junk journals, with the hidden spine. There are lots of tutorials where you can actually do the inside covers and the inside spine with fabric or paper, and then once that's all done, you can sew the signatures and have your stitching on the outside of the spine. There's lots of tutorials on that. That's not the way that I've done mine. There's no right or wrong way. It just depends on what you like and what you want your finished product to look like. So anyhow, okay, I'm just gonna let that dry, and I hope that you've both learned and enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel so that you can see the different stages of making a junk journal. As you can see, the purpose of this video not only was to attach the fabric to the outside book cover and spine, is I was actually using and trying for the first time heat and bond. I did order it from Amazon. So if you are using a very light see-through fabric, muslin from, you know, a piece of clothing, or if you choose to buy, you know, by the yard or whatever, but at Fabricland, this heat and bond product actually does work. That little bit of adhesive at the back has prevented the glue from seeping through, which I'm really happy about. So I'll definitely be using this product again. Okay, hit the subscribe button if you like what you've seen, and you can keep track of my junk journal journeys. All right, take care, everyone. Bye-bye.